sum up how this preseason has gone in such unique experiences. We've all talked about the lack of time between the October 11th title and everything, but what have you seen from your teammates? How do you feel yourself ahead of the Tuesday opener for the regular season?
I mean, it's just so different, obviously, with the lack of games, the situation, obviously, all the COVID protocol and things of that nature. It's been a different training camp, to say the least. But for the time that we've had, which hasn't been that much, I feel like we've put in the work and gotten better. And obviously, we're not where we want to be long term, but that's absolutely okay because it's a long season, it's a long journey. But I think to the credit of the guys, we've gotten better, as the days went on.
Just big picture with how unique the season is, and you had the weird 4 months off when COVID first hit. Then you play, of course, throughout the playoffs. Now the 2 months here. How are you trying to plan things for your body, which I know was kind of on a clock, right, for what, the last how many years? 15, 17, 18 years.
Just listening to it. Listen to my body. My body will tell me where I am at that point in time, and just listen to it. That's what it's about. Be very smart. We're a marathon team. We understand that we're not in a sprint, but we want to get better every day. So it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a fine line. But I'll listen to my body. I'll listen to, Mike Mancini is my trainer. I'll listen to the coaching staff. I'll obviously listen to Frank, and listen to my teammates as well. And go from there.
With some of the new guys and so on, is there one thing, LeBron, that you guys focus on ahead of the season opener? Things that you guys can do based on your experience with most of the group from last year?
Well, the one thing we know we can control, and that's defensive rebound and transition. Defensive transition, and also sharing the ball offensively. We know we can control that. We got to do a really good job of, sharing the ball, which we love to do. Have everyone involved, everyone feels in a good rhythm. And then defensively, grabbing rebounds, boxing out, and also getting back in transition. So those are the things that we can control.
Dave?
LeBron, you just told us that you guys know that you're not where you want to be long term, but that's okay because of the circumstances. It kind of sounds a lot like the sentiment that Frank just shared with us. But we also know that you told us before, like, patience is not your strong suit. So what will you be looking for as things actually start to count in the standings in terms of knowing where you guys are at?
We just want to get better every day. We want to get better every day, either on the floor, during games or practices, or if it's, during a film session, either on the road or at home, preparing our minds and preparing our bodies for the long haul. So, I'll see how we continue to improve each month.
The hip felt after you missed the last game and started this one?
The hip felt good. Everything's good. Besides the little thigh contusion I got tonight. Got kneed in the thigh a little bit, but that'll pass. But everything feels good.
Hey, you've told us about the confidence that built last year and you felt all the way through the finals and carried into the preseason here. Looked like the shot's been pure in that sense as well. How are you feeling at this point, and anything else that stands out to you heading into the regular season opener?
I feel good, as far as like my confidence, and the belief and trust I have in myself. But we, as far as like team, we have a long way to go. As far as like building that chemistry, we still look kind of lost out there a little bit. But I know, the team we have, the group of guys that that's here. I know it's going to be as soon as possible. We're going to put it together.
And can you just give us a sense of what it feels like, the way this offseason has gone, how truncated it's been, and now the regular season actually starts in just 3-4 days? So what has that felt like to you guys from a basketball sense, and how do you try to deal with it?
I think we try to deal with it day by day. I know the season is here, but we would want for the season to start a little bit later. Right now, we trying to find a rhythm. We look like I said, we look lost a little bit. Winded here and there. So it was a quick turnaround for us, and not really a break.
All right, I want to talk a little THD here quickly, guys. 20 points he averaged in 4 preseason games. And if you'd have told me a month ago that he'd be in the rotation, I would be trying to figure out where he would land. But Fish, I mean, you're watching him handle the...
Jalen and Jacoby is presented by Bullet Bourbon Frontier Whiskey.
He is Jalen Rose. I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, what is it that we do?
We give the people what they want.
Jalen, the people are going to get what they want. It is a Bay Area celebration in the Versus Battle this Saturday, and we have one of the combatants. Too Short joins us later on in the show. But we start with the championship Lakers taking the floor last night, and they had LeBron James and AD in uniform actually playing basketball. Jalen, I know you watched this one. I know you're already a league pass addict. What did you see from the purple and gold?
That the defending world champs are loaded, Jacoby, and they got it covered in every phase. Storied franchise tied with the Boston Celtics for the most championships in the league with 17. They currently have two superstars, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You go out in free agency, get the two guys that were first and second and sixth man of the year. And then you also, thirdly, develop from within. Players that they drafted, in particular, Kyle Kuzma, Taylor Horton-Tucker playing really well. Look at those notable offseason additions. So in every phase, Jacoby, having a superstar, offseason additions, and building from within, the Lakers got all of the bases covered.
I want to talk about Kuzma and Taylor Horton-Tucker. Let's take them each one by one. Do you remember when Kuzma had that summer league where he just exploded? And that first year, he was really getting buckets. And last year with AD there, sort of seemed to take a little bit of a step back in his development. What do you expect from him? Will he become established as that third option in this offense, even with everything they've added?
He has the talent to do so, Jacoby, but it's only one basketball. And you know who's going to have it the most? LeBron James, who led the league in assists, and Anthony Davis, who's first team All-NBA. They're going to have the ball. So if your strength is scoring or shooting, guess what? You're going to get a lot less shots. You're going to score a lot less. Your opportunities are going to be a lot less. So these young players have to come in and be efficient because you understand that you're playing for a championship and that sacrifice is necessary. When Taylor Horton-Tucker plays a lot better, you know whose minutes goes down? Trey. His minutes goes down because it's like, oh, okay, we got to find a way to get this guy some more tick. But that's the sacrifice that everybody's willing to make in order to win a championship. And they have that depth from top to bottom.
So I was watching this game, and I've watched Taylor Horton-Tucker play the last couple games, and he's really looked good. Now, does that translate to the regular season? Hopefully for the Lakers. But I've always thought, like, whose minutes does it really get into, and how do they use him? I know exactly how they use him. Load management. Someone's going to have to pick up those minutes because they're not going to be playing their superstars all the time. So those minutes pop up every few nights. And also, not everyone stays healthy all season. There has never been a basketball team that was healthy all season long. So the question is not, how do they find a way to put him on the floor? Or are they misusing him? You put him on the roster, and when you have holes in the roster, superstars out because of load management, or anybody out, role players out because of injuries, then Taylor Horton-Tucker gets a chance to really prove that he belongs in the rotation. Very exciting last night watching this game, but they also had another team on the floor. The Lakers are always going to get all the headlines, but the revamped Phoenix Suns were out there. What did you think from what you saw from Phoenix?
The late, great David Stern vetoed a trade once, Jacoby, that would have sent Chris Paul to the Los Angeles Lakers. And as I saw the Greek Freak re-sign, and Dame Lillard has had his staying power in Portland, becoming their anchor and their franchise player, it made me think, the point guard, the future first ballot Hall of Famer, JRLA supporter, my brother Chris Paul, I was thinking, which team is going to celebrate his legacy when he goes into the Hall of Fame? What jersey would he wear? What do you think, Jacoby? Like, Melo, I believe, played in New York long enough at least to get them to pay some tribute and retire his number there. But he wasn't with the Pelicans, the Hornets / long enough. We know what happened with the Clippers and OKC. So what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are it's a good problem to have because he's had success. Now, he hasn't won a championship or been to the finals, but he's had success with the Pelicans. He's had success with the Clippers, had success with the Rockets. I mean, he was very close. It was him. It was his injury that sort of kept them from beating the Warriors. And, of course, I don't think these stints with the Thunder or the Suns will sort of like be his legacy. But he is one of those players that has played in a lot of teams, will go to the Hall of Fame, no questionably one of the best point guards of all time. But I don't really, when I close my eyes and envision what jersey he wears in Springfield, I don't know. Like, it might just have like an NBA logo on it and be like one of those old video game jerseys that doesn't have a team name. Like, that's kind of feels appropriate. And again, it's not like he doesn't have one of those Dirk Nowitzki careers where it's like, he is a Dallas Maverick. I mean, he has a career where he's bounced around, but he's had a lot of success. And one would ask, like, is that better or worse than a Dame Lillard? What do you think about that?
Well, Dame Lillard being an anchor for a franchise, and he plays there his entire career. We know they're going to name a street after him. We know they're going to retire his number. And if he wins a championship, they'll likely give him a statue. So anytime you can have that staying power of a Tim Duncan, of a Kobe Bryant, that's what you want if you can win championships. But if you're not going to win championships so far, which Dame hasn't, and Dirk was able to get one, I would believe that you want the staying power of a Dame Lillard.
One thing I'm really glad you brought up was that vetoed trade by David Stern to Lakers, because when his career is over and he's sitting on the front porch watching his kids play and drinking a glass of red wine, that's the what if that he's going to ask himself. That's the what if that he's going to say, you know what, I had a great career. I've done a lot of great things on and off the court. But man, David Stern really changed it midway through. Moving on to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who looks like he is going to have he's going to be the face of a franchise, unlike Chris Paul. Looks like he's not going to bounce around. He's signed. He's going to play 6 more seasons with the Bucks, and he had this to say about getting a little help and recruiting other players to come join him in Milwaukee.
I'm not trying to be active. Like, that's something that I don't want to do because that involves a lot of people's life and my teammates' lives, and I try to stay away from that.
Interesting. He says he wants to stay away from recruiting other players, but Jalen, in 2020, isn't that how you get other players to join you, by recruiting them yourself?
David Jacoby, these are things you say mano a mano to the human being, not things you say to the media. You can't be on the court talking to the opponent like, why don't you come run with us? What does that say to the other 14 guys? Well, this year, 16 guys on the team. You go to a player that you may feel like, hey, you don't have a long-term deal in Indiana, Victor Oladipo. What do you think about your situation there? You say that from your mouth to his ear. You don't say that to the media. Trust me, him being locked in means that now he can actually do that and do it with a straight face, because the people that he's recruiting know that he's going to be there.
I like this. So basically, even though he said he will not recruit other players, now that he's locked in, he's guaranteed to be in a better position to recruit other players. We're just never going to know about it because we have microphones and cameras in front of us. Okay, got you. Thank you for breaking that one down for us. Moving on to someone who doesn't seem like they're going to stay at their team very long, James Harden. And he had an interesting line of questions from our colleague Tim McMahon about sort of how he prepared for the season. Let's check that out.
James, what was the point that you were trying to get across when you went to Atlanta and Vegas when training camp was starting?
I was just training.
What were you training for?
The start of the NBA season.
How did going to Atlanta and Vegas help you there when the Rockets were starting training camp in Houston?
Just my personal trainers.
Listen, I'm a journalist, okay? I have no proof that he did not spend 12 hours a day in Atlanta and Vegas with his personal trainers preparing for the NBA season. I have no proof that James Harden lied or stretched the truth in that back and forth. So I don't know. Perhaps James Harden's telling the truth. I think James Harden's probably telling the truth. Maybe he went to Little Baby's birthday party for 3 hours and spent the other 15 hours when he was awake vigorously training and preparing for the NBA season. I have no proof that's not the case. Shout out to James Harden. I got your back.
I love this so much for so many reasons. First off, when he asked James what he's trying to prove, let me tell you what James was trying to prove. To everybody who tried to weight shame him the other night and call him Rick Ross, you notice he set them guns up on the table, Jacoby. I get to the free throw line. I make layups. I'm a power guard. Don't get it twisted. And you see he got the compression shirt on.
Yeah, and look at the neck stretch. I like the neck stretch. Check the neck stretch when he gets the follow-up question.
Going. You know he was looking at his phone at halftime and saw he was trending for all of the wrong reasons. So first off, that's the athletic. Next thing, I appreciate that he was actually there, present and willing like a professional to answer questions, which is a part of his job and something that the public deserves. I'm glad that he didn't take it personal. He didn't feel some type of way that he was being questioned. You're right. If you're the interviewer, the Rockets were getting ready for a season in Houston. However, you were in Atlanta. You were in Vegas. Those are inbounds questions, especially when you posted on social media that you were there. And so I respect the exchange professionally each way. And this is what James is going to need to do besides play great basketball in order for them to have the level of value to consider trading him.
Well, Tim also wrote an article that detailed the culture with the Rockets while James is there, and it was, quote, whatever James wanted. And we're talking about practice schedules and showing up late and player personnel movement and losing Dwight and losing Kevin McHale and bringing in Chris Paul, bringing in Russell Westbrook and missing a practice every year after the All-Star break and staying in a city maybe an extra day. Is this just normal superstar treatment, or is this sort of like outside of modus operandi for an NBA team?
Well, normal superstar treatment is investing in your best player and allowing him to be a part of the organization from the top down, including making some personnel decisions because you understand that superstar is going to be the face of your franchise. But there's also something to be said to not taking advantage of those privileges when you're the best player. And it's one thing to stay in the city an extra night. That's been happening since the beginning of time, Jacoby. That's celebrated. Trust me. When the Gold Club was happening in Atlanta, we was like, you got to win, and then you can stay the night. Dog, we was going to bed the night before. Trust me. You want to stay that extra night in Miami. You want to stay that extra night in Los Angeles. Like, that happens. But there are certain things that you can't do. And one of the things you can't do is disrespect everybody else's time. The thought that you're going to be late to the plane, the thought you're going to be late to the bus, and dog, you late for the film sessions? Like, so now that becomes a level of disrespect for the players that you play with and for the organization. And I hate that that's become public right now for James, because I've been traded. I know you want to slander a guy before you end up moving him, because you're not going to get fair value. So now you're going to put into the public's mind that we had to trade him because of all of these things. I just think he will get traded. It's just unfortunate these situations are being exposed right now.
Jalen, right after this break, Too Short will be joining us on Jalen and Jacoby. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.
Jalen and Jacoby, presented by Bullet Bourbon Frontier Whiskey.
Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, briefly, who is joining us on the program right now?
A guy who once said Detroit is just like Oakland. It's a black thing, and I'm a black man. My brother from another mother, Todd Shaw, Too Short. What up, though, family?
What's up, man? What's going on, man? Good to see y'all.
Well, this weekend, all eyes will be on you and E40 as the two of you go head-to-head in a versus battle and a celebration of Oakland. What is your strategy going into this event?
Oh, well, you know, it was kind of tough for me, man, because they said there's a limitation where you can only do like 20 songs or something. And I've been debating with them for the last weeks. I'm like, how do I do 20 songs? It's like, I don't know which ones to pick, so that's my only dilemma is which 20, because I can throw curves, sliders, fastballs, all kinds of, you know what I mean? Then I'm going up against E40, and that's like fighting that's like in a boxing ring with gloves on, fighting somebody with a sledgehammer. So it's going down.
All I know is the world is gonna get so much slanguage from E40 to go with the spoon, and so much playing and pimping from Too Short. We're going to be Bay Area forever in this country after Saturday night.
we really want to take the opportunity to do some educating, man. It's an educational thing. I think a lot of people know tidbits about the Bay, but a lot of people don't know the history. They don't know the influence. They don't know the motivation that we put out there. So I just want to teach some people and remind some others.
Well, we appreciate that and look forward to that. We're also looking forward to tonight's game between the Chargers and what was previously the Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. How do you feel about your team's chance to get in the playoffs this season?
It's not really looking good when I see the other teams that are in the hunt, man. We kind of, after that Chiefs game, the second Chiefs game, it seems like we left a little something there, man. So I'm a Raider Nation all the way. The Raiders can move anywhere, and I'm going with the Raiders. I'm a little bit mad that they left because of the economic situation. You don't want the loss of jobs and stuff, but I mean, you see what I'm wearing right now.